What would you do if someone twice your size suddenly grabbed you right now? Face reality. None of those flashy techniques you learn in the gym will work in a dark street fight. Real violence is chaotic, brutal, and incredibly unfair. The moves that actually work don't look pretty on camera. They are simply devastating and lethal. Today we are exposing 7 ruthless techniques that end even the most desperate fights in seconds. Stay until the end, because number 1 might just save your life one day. You're walking alone and suddenly a massive threat appears right in your face. You don't have time to think, you only have seconds. In real violence, there is no such thing as flawless technique. There is only survival. These moves you're about to learn weren't designed to win medals, but to pull the plug on the human body in the fastest way possible. 7th dirty move: the shin scrape and foot stomp. Most people completely ignore the lower body in a fight, focusing entirely on punches. This is a fatal mistake because the lower body is the main foundation from which your opponent draws all their power. The shin bone, in particular, lacks muscle protection just beneath the skin and features a dense network of nerves, making it one of the most sensitive surfaces on the human body. When sudden, harsh pressure, a scrape, is applied to this area, the brain instantly prioritizes this pain signal, destroying the opponent's coordination. Even this brief moment is enough because once balance is broken, the entire structure begins to collapse. Immediately after, if you target the sole that carries all that weight, the foot, the destruction multiplies. In that unbalanced moment, the foot cannot withstand a crushing downward force. When the foundation collapses, the body cannot generate power or sustain an attack. Your opponent no longer thinks about hitting you. They are forced to focus on staying upright. The most insidious part of this move is this. Because it doesn't look like a traditional fighting technique, it completely bypasses the opponent's radar. If someone aggressively enters your space, use this move to create that moment of imbalance and quickly retreat without engaging in a brawl. 6th dirty move: the headbutt. The human forehead is one of the hardest and most unbreakable structural points on the body. Yet most people don't even think to use it in a moment of panic. In contrast, the human face, especially the nose area, is incredibly fragile. In the suffocating moments of a street fight, where distance is closed and hands are tangled, traditional punches become completely useless. That is exactly when the head becomes the most lethal weapon in that range. You don't need to step back, put your guard up, or have perfect timing. Your weapon is already right next to the target. What makes this technique unstoppable is that it works without distance. While all other techniques fail when the gap closes, the headbutt shines precisely in this chaos. When the situation turns into a clinch or a grapple, the head is the only real tool left to use. Despite being at the heart of real-world survival systems, it is almost never taught in sports gyms. If someone pins you against a wall, don't panic. Maintain your stance, use your body to ruthlessly break contact, and walk away safely. 5th dirty move: the ear shock. Deep inside the human ear lies a flawless system that governs our sense of direction and balance. This system constantly sends information to our brain about our position and stability. When a sudden and violent external pressure crashes this system all at once, the brain becomes unable to process the correct data. The result? Instant disorientation. It feels like the axis of the earth has shifted. Even the opponent's simplest reflexes, like standing up or taking a step, go bankrupt. The real power of this move is creating that internal chaos that remains unseen from the outside. From the outside, it just looks like a simple contact, but the opponent's body is internally battling a vertigo it cannot correct. Aggression requires coordination. When coordination collapses, capability vanishes too. This shock instantly shifts the opponent from attack mode into confusion mode. In close quarters, your goal isn't to be a hero, it's to create that moment of confusion and escape. Use that single second when the opponent loses their balance to immediately move to safety. 4th dirty move: visual override, disabling the eyes. Right, so the eyes are the most protected system of the human body, both physically and neurologically. A massive portion of the brain's processing power is dedicated solely to vision and, protecting this organ at all costs. The cornea, it's actually a massive nerve tissue that perceives even the slightest contact as a real emergency, while even a tiny speck of dust can instantly shut the eye. Just imagine turning this into a sudden threat exploding toward the opponent's face. The reaction is ruthless and absolute. This reflex, it completely bypasses the thinking part of the brain. It travels through the brain stem straight to the facial nerves, causing the eyelids to snap shut in a fraction of a second. And honestly, this cannot be stopped by willpower or anger. Even the world's most elite fighters, they can't fully suppress this reflex. When this system is triggered, the body doesn't hesitate. It practically resets itself. It's not just the eyes closing. The shoulders tense, the head pulls back, and the body experiences a complete freeze. In that split second, the attacker is no longer attacking you. They're only reacting. In a real fight, this shift is everything. You don't deal damage, you hack the body's priorities. The brain will always protect the eyes first. This is a non-negotiable rule. When you cut off vision, you aren't fighting the man, you're locking down his command center. Third dirty move: core shutdown or autonomic collapse. Some vital responses in our body, they operate entirely in our subconscious. Systems like your heartbeat, your breathing, and all that internal regulation, they're managed by what's called the autonomic nervous system. Now, when certain critical areas are struck suddenly, the body thinks it's under some kind of emergency threat and, well, it kicks off a protective shutdown. Coordination drops, strength just disappears, and the body shuts down anything it doesn't absolutely need. What makes this technique so unstoppable is that, honestly, it doesn't even rely on pain. Pain can be ignored if you've got enough adrenaline, right? But these strikes, they target a much deeper system, and willpower can't get you through it. Your opponent doesn't decide to stop. Their own body just forces them to accept the outcome. The control, it shifts completely. Remember, your goal should always be to create a chance to turn your back and walk away. Use that moment when your opponent stumbles to get some distance. Second dirty move: systematic interruption. The fastest things in the human body, well, they aren't decisions, but reflexes. Reflexes start right in the brainstem, not in the conscious mind at all. When something suddenly and rapidly comes into your field of vision, the trigeminal nerve picks it up, and instantly, the flinch response is triggered through the facial nerves. This whole process happens in just fractions of a second, way before you can even think about it, and you can't control it. It's flawless, because no matter how much experience or rage someone's got, they can't beat this response. Even professional soldiers and fighters, they've got the exact same wiring. The moment that reflex is triggered, any action that's happening gets cut off, just like that. The brain stops the attack command, resets the whole system. What comes next is a kind of neurological lockdown across the whole body. Shoulders tense up, posture breaks, and you shift into a protective stance. Motor skills just plummet. And in those high adrenaline moments, even a half second of this disruption can change everything. You're creating a neurological void, that golden window where the opponent just freezes, unable to attack. The attack chain is broken permanently. First dirty move: the chin jab principle. In the most lethal moments of real-world combat, honestly, everything comes down to sheer efficiency and mechanics. The human head, it rotates around an axis in the neck, and the chin sits right at the end of a long lever arm. If you apply an upward force to that point, it causes a violent backward rotation, and the brain just can't compensate for it straight away. This leads to an immediate collapse of the system that keeps you conscious. What makes this principle legendary isn't muscle power, but perfect alignment and timing. When the body moves as one, even the smallest effort can have a devastating impact on your opponent. That's why this concept has stayed in the secret arsenal of elite soldiers for decades. Not because it looks cool, but because it works 100% of the time when the pressure is on and fancy techniques fail. These 7 moves, they prove something important. You don't need big muscles or complicated systems. You just need to know how the human body collapses under pressure. This isn't a sport, it's a pure fight for survival. Use your mind wisely, stay sharp, and if you're ready to dig even deeper into the truth, well, the full system is there.